The head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, ranked 7th in the country, 19-2 overall. Sean Miller, our guest on CBS Sports Radio. I wanted to ask you about one of your former players playing in the NBA, TJ McConnell, who I felt like, again, I'm an outsider. I've covered you guys, but I don't consider myself some sort of insider in your program. But I felt like there's a different bond between the two of you. Your dad, a famous high school coach, Western Pennsylvania. His dad, high school coach, growing up in Pittsburgh. He goes to Duquesne, transfers, comes, plays for you, becomes the best player in the Pac-12. And I wonder, though, they've won 10 out of their last 13 games. I'm assuming the 76ers have won 10 out of their last 13 games with him as a starting point guard. This has to surprise you on some level that he's, forget making the NBA and sticking in the NBA, but playing and winning in the NBA. What's your reaction to that?
No doubt. I mean, I don't think anybody could have predicted the success that he's having in the NBA. I will tell you, Doug, I really thought he had a shot because I was around him every day for 3 years. You know, a couple things about TJ. Before he came to us, he played at Duquesne in the Atlantic 10, and that was the old Atlantic 10. Xavier was in it, and there's always great guards in that conference. And, TJ was number 3 in American steals while playing for Duquesne. He was an all-conference player. And, I have my brother at Dayton, the guys at Xavier that really knew him well. And then, we had a chance to play against him at Duquesne. Even before he came to Arizona, he has a skill set that's very unique. He's very good on defense. He gets his hands on a lot of balls. He's got incredible instincts. And then once you put him on a team like we had with him at Arizona, where he's playing alongside other very good players, you could see where it really brought the best out in him. He sees the floor, and he's got a will and a toughness, Doug, that you just don't find in anybody. And so now you watch him with the Sixers, and you see Joel Embiid back. The better players that he's around, it brings out the best in him because he sees the floor so well. And, again, I think he doesn't get enough credit on defense. So we're proud of him, man. I tell you, it gives me a lot of credibility with my current team because I bring him up constantly.
That's good.
One thing that he did
at
Arizona is he played for the win every day. He was more concerned with getting the other guys to the NBA than himself. And it's just funny how that comes back around if you're that type of player.
That's good, Coach, because TJ McConnell's actually on the phone with us. He's been listening to the entire interview. TJ, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Man, if you set me up, I would never have raved about him like this. I don't want him to get soft on me, Doug.
There's a lot of things about your players. Soft, it was not what I would consider TJ McConnell. TJ, thanks for joining us. You guys, this is incredible what you guys have been able to do. When did this thing turn for you guys?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It's just our team has really bought into not going away. I know a year ago that was a different story, but kind of when we did turn that corner, we became more mature. We're playing more free, moving the ball, and playing more unselfish, and that's kind of sparked this run.
How hard is it? Coach talked about how you played for the win, but and we've heard from other NBA teams that are kind of fissuring, they're kind of breaking apart. How there's some split within the locker room. Some guys care every day, some guys don't care every day. I know you care every day, but you were just a rookie or a second-year guy, happy to be on the team. How do you handle that? How do you handle motivating guys to play hard when sometimes it's not your place based upon years in the league?
It is tough. It puts you in a tough position, but if you just show the guys how much you want to win and it will add up in practice, I think everyone starts to buy into that. Once one person does it, then another, and then we have the whole team doing it. And we've done a tremendous job of doing that in practice, just bringing it every day and transfer that into games.
All right, that's the voice of TJ McConnell. Sean Miller, his former head coach at Arizona, both on the phone with us here on the Doug Gottlieb Show on CBS Sports Radio. I got one more for you, Coach, in a second, but I want to ask you, TJ, when I lost my last game, it was in the Elite Eight, and it crushed me, not just because I didn't ever get to a Final Four, but I didn't get my coach to the Final Four. You played for one of the great young coaches in the country, but he hasn't been there yet. How much would you like to see him win that fourth game to get the respect he rightfully deserves?
I think you said it right there. He doesn't get nearly enough credit that he deserves. I think he's a top coach in the NCAA, no question, and no one deserves to make it to a Final Four more than he does. He's a tireless recruiter, and how much effort he puts in day in and day out. I've said this before. He wants to win more than a lot of players do, and that's why I loved playing for him.
Sean, so let me ask you. You have a team that you have the talent. Now that you have Trier back, you got veterans, you got size inside. You guys have a toughness, a defensive mentality that's shown it can win on the road. That always travels to the NCAA tournament. How do you process that? How do you handle the fact that you want to win and you haven't gotten that, and yet you have to just coach your team today and not worry about that? How do you process that now?
Yeah, I think you go through different phases. As a coach, sometimes you may desperately want to get there, especially when you have a team that you think is capable. But, at the end of the day, Doug, the more you focus on the end result, and it's almost like everybody tightens up, including you. For me, the one thing that I've learned, we're in a high expectation environment here at Arizona, and we have talented players, and I think right now our team is coming into its own. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen because we just work and keep getting better. It's kind of like TJ answered your question about the turnaround in Philadelphia. It starts every day in practice. It starts with great team chemistry. Guys really thinking about each other and the end result as opposed to where they're going individually. And I think as long as we keep the eye on the process there, it's going to happen. You have to hit the door a couple times before you knock it in, and hopefully one day it'll go all the way in.